Essentially, we find ourselves at the nexus of three very fast-changing technological shifts in terms of video, video online, and television. The first one is the television cameras, broadcast television cameras, which used to be these big, heavy things that cost $80,000 and sit on your shoulder, and you still see them on the street, have now been reduced to something you can hold in the palm of your hand, cost a couple of $100. Any idiot can operate them. They're point and shoot, they're high def, they're a remarkable piece of technology. The second one is that edit suites, which when I started at CBS News doing Sunday morning, edit suites cost $500,000 to $1 million. It took an editor to do them. It took forever to edit. Today, editing has been reduced to a piece of software that sits on a laptop. It costs a couple of $100, but everybody steals it, and basically any moron can operate these things. They're drag and drop. And any 9-year-old can edit a broadcast quality piece. The third shift here that came, of course, the internet went to video. So the demand for video has gone through the ceiling. And these changes have, this is what I've been working with for the last 20 years. We began initially by building television stations and networks predicated on this technology. A long time ago, I did New York One, which you're probably familiar with, where reporters carried their own cameras, and they were big, and they got smaller and smaller. I did Channel One in London. I went to the BBC. We started to restructure whole networks. So in a typical local news operation, you might have 250 or 300 or 400 people in a local news operation putting 8 or 10 camera crews on the street. This is an act of insanity. Nothing personal, Andrew. You worked in a different time, but times have changed. Amen. Yeah, there you go. That's right. So what we do is for local television stations or even networks like we did with the BBC, we come into a newsroom, we find 50 people in the newsroom who can do this, we give each of them a camera and a laptop edit, we teach them to shoot and cut, we run the newsroom like a newspaper, we go, here's your camera, there's the door, see you 6, go make content, because that's what it's really about. And as a result, we take the station from having 8 camera crews on the street to having 50 camera crews on the street, from having 6 edit suites to having 50 edit suites, and then we can fire half the staff, which doesn't make us very popular, but it makes us very cost effective because you don't need these people. You don't need cameramen, you don't need soundmen, you don't need producers, you don't need reporters, you don't need the truck, you don't need the van, you don't need all the people like the infrastructure of newspapers that made the television station work. What you need is the content, and I agree 100% with Edward. Don't cut the content, you cut the distribution, the manufacturing thing. So we were very successful in doing that in terms of television stations. We did the BBC, Dutch television, Danish television, Swedish television. We did a couple of stations in the United States. If you Google my name, you'll see how people hate me. Screw them, I couldn't care less. So. No, but it's too bad. You know, we say to cameramen all the time, I'm sorry, you're in an archaic job that doesn't exist anymore. Go do something else. And it's too bad, but this is going to happen. This transition, as the web went to video, it became obvious that as newspapers went to video on one side and the web went to video on the other side, newspapers had to start doing video. Newspapers are not about print. Newspapers are an organization that goes in the community, finds stories, and puts them out to the public. And if the public is online, the public has an expectation of video online. It's part of your job. But newspapers can't go out and they can't hire cameramen, soundmen, producers, editors, and start making TV shows because they'll go broke even faster than they go broke now. But what we discovered with newspapers and magazines is they are magnets for journalists. People who come to work for newspapers and magazines and television are there because they want to tell stories. So what we did was we started to empower the people in the building with cameras and edits and laptops and go, here is how you become a digital journalist as opposed to a print journalist. A digital journalist, somebody goes out in the community with a little digital acquisition machine like a laptop and a camera, and they gather the story. And then they can make the story in print, or they can make the story in video, or they can make the story in audio, or they can do anything they want with the story. That's what we did with the Star Ledger, where I think we've had a great success. We'll find revenue. Don't worry, I got a lot of ideas for you. But we've also done it with all the McGraw-Hill publications. We're now taking the same thing. This is an enormously fast-moving area and very easy to do. I know. Okay, because your newsrooms are getting very close to the end. Final point, and there's a lot of other points to be made for this. The last transition of this thing, which is the most interesting, is, well, it's all about training. If you don't train these people, it doesn't really work. And to teach them to be a conventional reporter and a conventional cameraman and a conventional is an act of insanity because digital video acquisition is a very, very different business. So the core of our business, of course, is training people. And if you want, come to see me because we don't charge that much and it actually works out pretty well. But we've started a process now with Travel Channel, of all people, where we start something called Travel Channel Academy, where anybody can walk in off the street and take a 4-day training course with us to learn to be a digital travel journalist. This feeds the network. We've now put 1,000 people around the world for Travel Channel doing content. We charge them $2,500 for the 4-day course. We're totally booked up through 2009 with people who want to do this thing. It's not a bad business, and we can do it with you also, because there's an appetite among the average public to participate in this great dialogue that Edward talked about. It's the public who wants to join in. And just like blogging, video blogging or vlogging is going to become a very, very powerful process, but you have to learn how to do it. Is that it? My time up?
Hallelujah.
Terrific. Thank you.
Hallelujah.